All right, great. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming along to tonight's Azure user group. First one for 2016. Hope everyone had a good Christmas and New Year. Some familiar faces and some new faces. Hopefully, the people who are going to watch this online will also be hearing this loud and clear. Hence me being mic'd up, not because I like to hear the sound of my own voice, although that does help. Sorry, yeah, well, no swearing, yeah, no telling fibs or referring to the opposition as potentially better or different or somehow part of the landscape. So I can see we've got 2 viewers online already, which is great. So they've obviously been waiting for the stream to start, which is good. Welcome, Stevie. My name's Simon Waite. I've been running the user group now just over 2 years. The very first speaker I actually had at the first user group I ran as the coordinator was actually Mick. Down at the City Hotel, I think it was, down in the basement. You talked about BizBook services. that piece of the Azure world that is still floating about somehow.
I remember that very well. Yeah. The promotion that we're paying on next door.
Yes. yeah. We've moved on since then. A bit of a different location. This year we're going to try and do a few different things. You will have seen we've already got next month's group scheduled, filling up pretty quickly. Got a couple of sessions lined up beyond that, not scheduled them online yet. So we've got a bit of flexibility around dates for those speakers. So let's get into it. Hopefully this technology is all going to work. The way we generally run these things, so you guys have seen that, so that's good. We're going to go through a little bit of useful information, which has come out of the survey that we've been running with the group of people who are members of the Meetup. Going to go through what's new in Azure since we last got together in December. And then Mick Badran from MOQdigital or MOQdigital? MOQdigital is going to talk to us about Azure Service Fabric. So I was lucky enough to see Mick do a talk on this at Ignite last year on the Gold Coast. I thought it would be a great topic to share with the broader Azure community here in Sydney, and hopefully you'll get some value out of what Mick's got to say. I'll try and get my stuff done as quickly as we can so we can get Mick up here to talk about his stuff. Out of the back end of last year, we made some changes to the way we run the user group. The sort of prevalent thing in the industry at the moment is about the way we treat people when we have these sorts of groups together. So out of that, we've proposed a code of conduct, one sets out what we expect of our members and the process to go should you come to one of these events and find yourself not enjoying it or being harassed or having any other sort of negative experience. So that's up on our Meetup site if you want to go and have a look at it at that URL. Some feedback we got out of the survey, which is currently open, was that people wanted to see the slides out of these evenings. So obviously when we do these sorts of video casts, you can see the slides later as part of the video cast. Some people are interested actually in seeing the actual decks themselves. We do put at least this first introductory segment of the evening up on the files component of our Meetup site. The speaker slides, people such as Mick, it's really down to those guys, how they want to publish those things. Some speakers will share them with the people who come to Meetup, or you can actually organise and happy to broker a response to Mick. I'm sure Mick will share his contact details if you want to get them from him. But ultimately, the speakers, everyone's different. They give up their time freely, so we respect how they want to manage the distribution of their content. Videos, if you're watching this, you obviously know where to find it. If not, we actually have a YouTube channel. There is currently 5 sessions from last year up there. There'll be 6 with this one. Hopefully the audio on this one's a bit better. I can see that there's plenty of green dots on the screen. One of the bits of feedback we got was can't really hear. We're also dispensing with the camera because there's no real value in camera. It's really more about sharing these situations. So Mick's going to be the first guinea pig to make sure that works for 2016. We had a couple of speakers last year that didn't participate in that, so kind of the back end of those videos was pretty empty in content. There was a lot of talking but not a lot of value. Hopefully this year will be a bit better. And then the last thing, help us to improve these events by filling out our short survey, and I promise it is short. If you've not come to one of our events before, there's literally 2 questions, which is, why haven't you come, and what could we do to make you come? If you come to one of these events, there's, I think, 3 or 4 questions that we'll ask you around what your areas of interest are, how do you find the food, magical smorgasbord of pizza that we bring on each month, and what topics and other items could we do to improve the meetup as well. So please go along and fill that out. Upcoming events. So Mick is organising the local Sydney edition. I don't know if that's the right word, edition. We'll call it an edition. Of the Global Azure Bootcamp, which is on Saturday the 16th of April. So that's held globally on the same day each year. I think last year was a little bit of a kerfuffle because it was falling on Anzac Day. So this year, thankfully, they've moved the date that's actually on, so it's no longer on Anzac Day. It'll be out at the Microsoft HQ in North Ryde. If you follow that link, it'll take you to the Eventbrite site that went up yesterday, so you can register tickets, which are free. But obviously, there's going to be a limited capacity in the number of people that can go along to that. I think it's bring along a MSDN subscription, an Azure subscription, a computer, and I think it was for the day. There'll be some good opportunities to learn from local experts in the area, get some questions you might have outstanding answered on the day at that event. And then following up at the end of April, we have the Microsoft Cloud Roadshow, which is a couple of days here in Sydney at the Hilton Hotel. I think there's actually a cost to that. I didn't check. I think you've got to pay a fee to go along to that. I could be wrong, but the details are up there where you can go along and register. Again, all about helping people to understand what Azure is, what it can do for them. There's a lot of services that make up Azure, so it could be that there are things in there that you don't know about. Trust me, there's things in there I don't know about. I know the name, and that's about the extent of it. Right. So that's kind of the housekeeping bits out of the way. Any questions so far?
I registered for free for the roadshow.
Okay. So it sounds like the roadshow.
I did a few days ago.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like the roadshow is free. Thank you for that. That's good. Good. Hopefully you're not running off to check to make sure that you're not waiting. There's not an invoice waiting for your attention. So let's talk about what's actually changed in Azure since we last got together. It's interesting because the way we ran these previously, we had services that are in preview, services that are generally available, and then over time, gradually, the sets of announcements about Azure has kind of grown. So Christmas and New Year has meant a slowdown in new preview services generally available being launched, but there are a ton of announcements. And I think what that's showing is that the Azure platform offering is kind of matured to a point where there's no need for the cadence of new service releases, and the moving of services from preview to general availability is as required as it was once before. There's a lot of offerings in there that are now maturing, and rather than going through preview and general availability, they're just having announcements about here's the new features that you might need to know about, rather than going through that whole life cycle. Still plenty to come. They're not done by any stretch of the imagination, but in terms of what's happened over the last sort of month and a half, these are the things that have gone into preview. First one's an interesting one. Azure Search is search as a service, being able to do things such as use it as a backend for, say, a Lucene search solution, maybe replace something like Solar if you've solutions on top of Solar before. They've added in the capability to just go and index files held in blob storage. If I was a betting man, I would say that'll be something to do with SharePoint Online at some point in the future, because I'm sure the cost of putting blobs into Azure blob storage versus having whatever they put online is substantially cheaper. Being able to index those content files, and pull the metadata out of them is going to be useful for that in future. It's a bit like Windows as a whole, where you've got PDF and the Microsoft document, Microsoft Office document formats at the moment are the only things that are supported in there. I'm sure over time the amount of indexes that they support will grow. And then the other big one is the first technical preview of Azure Stack. Who knows what Azure Stack is? Okay. So Azure Stack is Microsoft's Azure in your data center. So we've had one go around the block at that before with the Windows Azure Pack. Windows Azure Pack was, I guess, a good first try. It provided you with some of the features that you had in what we now call the classic version of the Azure platform. Azure Stack has really taken the learnings Microsoft gained through the delivery of that classic portal experience and the journey they've gone through in delivering to Azure platform. And taken that into building an Azure version 2 platform capable version of what was Windows Azure Pack. The current technical preview is fairly limited in terms of the services you can stand up, but what Microsoft is saying is if you want to have technical parity between the Azure Resource Manager version of the Microsoft platform, the V2 platform, and what you run in your data center, then you go in and you can stand up Azure Stack. Personally, I think what we'll see is a lot of third-party hosting providers will stand up something like Azure Stack over the next 2 to 3 years and give you the ability to run a hybrid cloud between your public cloud and their hosted services, some form of hybrid private cloud provider potentially. So that's now out in technical preview. I think you actually even run it down on a laptop with a grunchy enough laptop. I wouldn't suggest that's probably a right way to run a production system, but if you do want to allow it, it is there. The great thing about that is your resource manager templates and all that fun stuff works in this environment as well. So once you build something to run in this environment, it will run in Azure and vice versa, which is the nirvana, and it's really a unique offering from Microsoft in comparison with a lot of the other players in the market at the moment. Microsoft probably a bit of a rearguard action to protect their historical investments in the enterprise, but obviously they're being driven to do that and delivering something that their competitors aren't at the moment. Generally available. Azure IoT Hub finally out of preview and into general availability. So that whole Internet of Things space is going to be massive. Starting to see that. I know Mick's probably got stories in that space around IoT, but I think we're just on the very early cusp of where IoT is going to go. It has a lot of potential, and a lot of the service offerings in Azure over the last sort of 6 months have kind of been targeted around that big data analytics, streaming data. All which obviously is being fed by things in the IoT space. So interesting space to keep yourself across. And then Azure Site Recovery, so some additional enhancements in being able to do site failovers out of VMware-based environments. So ASR will allow you to do VMM, Hyper-V-based environments, VMware-based environments, Azure environments, and AWS environments to a certain degree, manage failover between those two resource platforms. So if you've got a lot of on-prem, you're thinking about retiring, you'd like to migrate easier to the cloud, then ASR is worth looking at, because it's not only about the failover, it's also a way to easily migrate VMs from your on-prem environment into Azure if you want to. So that's generally available in preview. Now I get into the announcements. There are many. I'm going to just drain these quickly. If there's anything that takes your fancy and you'd like to know a little bit more about, I'll see if I can answer it for you. Otherwise, I'm going to just talk through these really quickly and pull out what I think are the key ones. API management, they've added some additional policy capabilities around that. That's really good if you want to take an existing API you've got, expose it publicly, make sure it's being authenticated against, and that you can monetize it by charging people different levels to access your API, and then doing things like throttling the number of requests that they can make and the amount of data they can pull out of the API. Application insights, if you want to get insights into what's going on inside of your published web app and mobile apps. Space that we're starting to see Microsoft spend a lot of time on is leveraging the investment they've made in machine learning to the benefit of a lot of their other services. So proactive detection is starting to do machine learning-based analytics of the incoming raw telemetry that you're capturing and giving you things that you maybe weren't looking for, saying you might have some issues here based on some of the analysis done on the raw telemetry that you're bringing in. App services. So app services kind of encapsulated a bunch of old version on-platform services, web apps, logic apps, API apps, all in one concept called an app service. They added .NET 4.6 support, which people have been clamoring for a while. The ability to deploy an app service out of OneDrive. Interesting. I'm not sure what developer would ever want to claim that they've deployed a web application or any sort of application out of OneDrive, but it's do it out of Dropbox. High performance MySQL, ClearDB, so that's an interesting one with WordPress. Quite often the places that it falls down is the performance of the MySQL backend. So Microsoft work with ClearDB, which is a third party that provides that service to improve the service offerings they have. I think they go up something ridiculous like $6,000 a month for a MySQL high availability cluster out of ClearDB. So seriously grunty MySQL backends. ZenRay for PHP apps, so it's allowing you to do analytics of your PHP deployed apps. Surprised a lot of people when they realise that Microsoft just doesn't care about .NET in their own world. You can do Java, PHP, Python, Node, you name it. There's a lot of stuff that can go in here, so you're starting to see third parties come to the party and actually go, well, you're going to host enterprise mission critical PHP-based systems, we're going to provide you with an ability to actually do analytics and telemetry around those apps. And then the last one, kind of put it under here. It's not really clear to me exactly where it fits, because it's but you could run it on a VM if you wanted to. You could run it in your own data center if you wanted to. I'm not sure why you do the last one, but it's always there. So Project Nami, which is probably the world's most used CMS, WordPress, with an Azure SQL database backend. So typically when you deploy WordPress, it's Apache, PHP, and a MySQL backend. What Project Nami is doing is actually removing that MySQL backend and putting it onto Azure SQL database. You go to the Project Nami website, there's a resource manager template to deploy this thing. It deploys the web component down into a web app inside of App Service, configures it to talk to Azure SQL database, and also it'll take your WordPress uploads and stuff them into Azure Blob Storage as well, which is great from an availability perspective. So moving kind of beyond that, building a highly available WordPress setup by having to run MySQL clusters in the back end and then do file replication between servers, it's now kind of baked in for you by leveraging capabilities of the platform. Compute, price reduction in the middle of January for the V2D series VMs. Depending on whether you're on an enterprise agreement or not, you may see some benefit out of that. Just this week they announced now we've got VMs with SQL Server Express pre-installed on it. It's used for doing a lot of app dev. You don't really want to spend a lot of time configuring up SQL Server standard or enterprise. You can now use the Express images. There's using the resource manager templating approach and some desired state configuration. Now the ability to more easily create complex SQL Server setups running on IaaS VMs in Azure. So you can go in and configure things like number of disks in your VMs, backups and patching, and it will be managed for you. It'll still be deployed onto an infrastructure as a service virtual machine, but a lot of the pre-configuration will have been done for you by leveraging the power of Resource Manager and desired state configuration. Worth having a look at if you do a lot of those sorts of things. It's a really shortcut the amount of time you spend on it. And then log analytics feeds out of Windows and Linux for Operational Management Suite, which is kind of Microsoft's System Center Ops Manager in the cloud service offering. There's a free tier for that if you want to go and have a play. Highly recommended if you use SCOM today to do some form of analytics on-prem. And also OMS in future will also support things like AWS as well, so it could become a single pane of glass across multiple cloud environments in future for your organisation. Storage, finally we get premium storage in Australia Southeast. I guess customers must have ticked off on the import of those 2 tons of disks or something they were bringing in to stand that capability up. Azure Storage Data Movement Library doesn't sound all that exciting, but it's actually really good if you build a lot of custom applications that need to move content into and out of storage accounts in Azure. One of the big problems you have if you're doing that from outside of the cloud is reliability of the connection pushing data in, because effectively it's all HTTP based. So what this data library does is it exposes the underlying logic that AZ Copy uses. AZ Copy is a free utility the storage team developed to allow you to push files into storage and between storage accounts. It's now based on the data movement library, so it gives you the ability in your custom apps to actually go off and bring that same reliability experience as you build. So worth having a look at if you're doing that. There's also a companion to that, which is encryption, which allows you to manage encryption and decryption of files as they go into and out of blob storage as well. Account SaaS, so we've had SaaS keys had a blob layer since storage was created. Microsoft introduced in the middle of last year account level SaaS settings, so you can actually go right up to the top of your account and generate SaaS keys. They've been working as surrogates for individual SaaS keys and storage accounts, I think probably since about October. They've now been extended out to tables and queues, which are also held in storage accounts. Yes. Oh. I always forget it. It's a secure access. It's like a secure access token, so it allows you to allow someone to either upload or download a blob in your storage account without having to give them your storage keys. So and do things like say this SaaS key is valid for this period of time. After it's no longer valid, and the person who has it can no longer do anything on my storage account. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I missed that. So you've had that capability down at the individual storage account layer to be able to do that. This is at the next layer up, so you can generate the keys once at your subscription account level, and then it'll apply to everything. So you're not having to manage a lot of life cycle around SaaS keys for a lot of individual items. So until recently, that account level SaaS was only available for blobs. You can now do the same thing for tables and queues. Interesting because storage, everyone just kind of assumes storage is storage, but it's actually kind of an underpinning thing of the whole of Azure, really, in many ways. And then store simple cloud appliances. So Microsoft ships physical store simple appliances, and they've made available virtual appliance in Azure that mirrors the capabilities of the on-prem solution. So you can effectively take your store simple data and add a virtual appliance to it, and then have it behave like your on-prem store simple appliance. You can get access to your data. Very useful. Last one, I promise. And then we'll have a 2-minute break. How long have I been going for? Too long, probably. Data services. So I kind of lumped together a bunch of things in here. There's not really an offering called data services per se. It's just me saying these are all data-like services. Azure SQL Data Warehouse. I haven't used it. Feedback was there was some stability issues with it. In January, Microsoft took through some updates to help increase the stability of the service offering. Data Factory, a couple of changes. So if you're running on-prem data feeds, there's now a data management gateway update process to be done in place. So it'll manage for you, like say those update for your Windows machines. You can run this version, and it will manage the update lifecycle of that on-prem gateway for you. And then just this week, they've released a management app which you can run to give you visibility of what's going on inside of your Data Factory pipelines. Not an area I spend a lot of time in, but as you might imagine, if you're pushing, terabytes or petabytes of data about what's going on inside that environment, it's kind of important to figure out if you need to scale or you've got other challenges in the data that's moving around inside your environment. This management app is kind of Microsoft's way to deal with that. I haven't seen too much about it, but you can go into the portal and click on a button and it will open it. I don't know if it's a UWP or Windows app that runs on desktop or if it's a web-based app. Be interested to hear if anyone's going to use that. Media services. So media services JavaScript client is released with a smaller footprint. It's like something like 33% smaller. So good if you less bandwidth to use, push it out to consumers. And then the media indexer had a price drop. So media services, again, one of those hit services. You don't see a lot of people using it. But they're doing a lot of work in that space. So the media indexer actually will generate those captions for you based on analysis of the audio streams inside the files. You don't have to do anything other than maybe give it a hint as to the language that the audio streams contain, and it will go off and it will generate those captions for you. Hopefully better than some of those ones you see that used to be generated on the TV. I haven't seen it used in earnest, but because you're making people pay for it, hopefully it's generating those captions that are of some value. And then finally, the PowerShell commandlet. This one called me out. 1.044 probably means not very much to many people, but those commandlets drop the old desktop shortcut on Windows to actually launch a dedicated Microsoft PowerShell command prompt. Now just opens, there's just a PowerShell command prompt. When you invoke any of your verb-Azure RM or verb-Azure commandlets, it will load the modules into that PowerShell command prompt environment for you, and off you go. So you no longer have two PowerShell environments, and that very much aligns with the ideas behind the way module management is happening in the newer versions of PowerShell. So that's it for me. Any questions? Am I on too much? No? Yes.
Do you know when these container services?
Container service is still in preview. I don't have any visibility on when that's going to go GA. I haven't been following too closely internally on the groups that I'm a part of where that's at the moment. The other big one Microsoft's pushing alongside containers is their blockchain as a service offering. Because there's a lot of potential upside for those sorts of for the products that might be built on top of blockchain. Everyone knows what blockchain is. So it's kind of at the core of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and the reason that it holds a lot of potential is because of the idea that the transaction history of a transaction on a blockchain goes with the blockchain entry. So the idea that you need to do things like trusted certificates and all those sorts of things kind of goes away, because you can trust it based on the history that comes along with the transaction in your blockchain. Banking and finance see a lot of potential in that, things like insurance as well, potentially, because that trust is already baked into more of it. That's why stealing Bitcoin is not really a good idea, because the history of the Bitcoin comes with the Bitcoin when you steal it. So trying to hand it off to somebody that knows a little bit about it, they can probably know where it came from. Not that I've ever owned any Bitcoin.
Got too expensive.
Yes.
A few months ago, I noticed virtual machines, in brackets classic.
Yes.
And some virtual machines were in there.
Yep.
What is that?
So
virtual machines classic.
Let me just, I'll hop out of the slide.
So let's put that up quickly. So Mick's going to talk in a minute about Azure Service Fabric. I'll answer your question right now about what that means, and then we'll get Mick up to back into his session. Yep. You can. The details are up there on the wall if you'd like to.
We monitor.
So what I'm going to do here, so the question was, I logged into the Azure portal recently,
and I saw that.
You're not going to see that.
You're not going to see that. It's on the other screen. Let's put it over here. Yeah.
Tell me about it. That was
my
2013
tech head experience.
So the gentleman,
sorry, I don't know your name.
Craig asked me.
I
was logged into the portal recently,
and I saw Virtual Machines Classic
and
Virtual Machines. So let me expand this out a bit, and we can probably see a bit more.
If
we scroll down here, so this is the new Azure Resource Manager V2 portal, no longer in preview, I might add. Now the one to use. The other one is now Classic and effectively not the place to go for many things. But you'll notice here I have Virtual Machines and Virtual Machines Classic. So the difference between these two is anything that you see that appears in the Virtual Machines Classic in this portal is effectively a version 1 virtual machine that was provisioned using the old Azure Service Management ASM API, or via the old portal, the old blue and white portal. The two aren't the same. There are quite substantial differences. I won't go into those now. I did a bit of a session last year on Resource Manager and ASM. Happy to talk about it offline if you'd like to know a bit more about it. This portal and Virtual Machines non-classic is the place you should be creating all your virtual machines going forward. There are some limitations at the moment, the main one being if you're using VM snapshots to do full disk backups in the version 1 world, that service is not yet available for version 2 virtual machines. But apart from that, pretty much all the other capabilities are there. You have a lot more flexibility with the V2 VMs. If we expand these guys, we won't see too many other details, but if we look at virtual machines in this environment, and then we have a look at, where are we? Network interfaces are a separate entity now, so I can treat them separately. I could delete the VM and create a new VM and associate the same virtual network interface card with the VM that I created. A lot of that stuff didn't really exist in the same format in the version 1 world. The other big difference is the concept of a cloud service. So if we look quickly in the Classic portal, we have this concept of a cloud service. Now, cloud service really harks back to the origins of Azure. When Microsoft first did virtual machines, they added it as a role for cloud services. So you had a web role, a worker role, and a VM role. That was the version 1 go of infrastructure as a service on Azure. That obviously didn't work particularly well. So then they then moved to the standalone concept of virtual machines, which is up here on its own. but the restriction was retained that in order to deploy a virtual machine, it had to go into a cloud service. So when you create a virtual machine, it comes up with the public host name of something.cloudapp.net, and that's the same as if you stand up a web role or a worker role, they have something.cloudapp.net. That concept goes away in the V2 world. You no longer need a cloud service. And a lot of the things like doing endpoints and ACLs are now taken care of by things like network security groups, or the application gateway, or a load balancer. So the load balancer in V1 is implicit in cloud services. In V2, the load balancer is a separate entity that isn't tied to any service offering in particular. Still have availability sets, they're still there. No cloud services in V2. That cool? Any other questions? Cool. Just see if there's anybody online who's got any questions. I don't think so. No. Okay. So what we'll do is, I was going to mute myself so we don't create a lot of kerfuffle while we're changing over this, and then I'll hand over to Mick, who'll get going in 2 seconds.
All right. If you guys want to grab a beer or some pizza while we're running over.
Plenty up in the corner, guys.
Like that in there. Should feel very familiar too.
Yeah. So this, do you want me just to minimise this?
Yeah, you can just minimise it. What I'll do is I'll turn you into a presenter.
Okay.
Probably have to move over.
Yes. Oh, you want me to power or the video?
Sorry. Choose the wrong place.
Yeah.
And of course, the port on that's on the other side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Like this way.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Just clear this up. Almost. There we go.
You just need to share your, just flip back over to
That one.
Share what screen you want to share. Oh, just a nice screen. Just
So what do you want to do?
So it was, but it was extended. It was an extended desktop before, right?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So we'll try it. Let's just try share screen this time. See what happens.
Looks good. Very scrunchy.
Blue circle of death.
Oh. Wiggle the mouse. There we go. Mate, I think we're there.
It's showing. Okay, you're in this video call. Good.
Guys, just out of interest, how many people are production? Yeah. Is that the IAS?
So I think everyone should be able to hear this. So we had some technical issues with Mick's Surface, unfortunately. Video drivers don't want to play ball, so unfortunately we're not able to share Mick's demo this evening. I'm sure
you can listen to it.
Yeah, so you can either listen in and see what's going on, or we can we can try to do this again another time, perhaps. Let's see. But yeah,
maybe I can record it for them to upload again.
Yeah, so we'll see what we can do. What I might do is I might end the broadcast here, just because there's not going to be a whole lot of value for guys online. Apologies for that. Technical issues do happen occasionally. Thanks for tuning in so far. We'll see what we can do for the rest of the guys that are here. Next time, maybe make an effort to come along to the user group, so we don't have these technical challenges getting between the content and you guys. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and speak to you later.
Thanks, guys.